What's going on, podcasters and YouTubers? This is Hav here, one of your hosts from the Real Fan Review, coming out of Long Island, New York. We got my brother B.
What up, everybody?
We got our man in the chair, Al.
How's it going, everybody?
Fresh from Florida, Sanj.
Good evening, everybody. As always, it's a pleasure to be with you.
Yeah, man, the four of us are back better than ever. 2022.
I'm back. No, 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 no.
Man, we're going to talk about some things today, man. We're going to talk about the Batman rumors of how long the movie's going to be. We're going to talk about our opinions on these leaks, these damn leaks that keep coming out about our favorite movies, man, and things that we don't want to hear and things that we may want to hear. I'm not sure how everybody feels about leaks, so we'll talk about that today. And then we're going to first start off, unfortunately, with 2022 taking out more people from our history, brother, man, and I just can't right now. So on recently, we got the news of the passing of Louie Anderson, and we also got Meatloaf passing away recently. I believe both of them were on Friday, right? If I'm
Yes.
correct.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh my God, it was like, I know Betty White was right at 2021 at the end, but she counts for 2022.
She does.
Yeah.
It was like 2022's warning for us.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we got Saget, Bob
Portier,
Saget, and who
Yeah.
was the other one now?
Sidney Portier.
Portier. Now this is just insane. So let's just go ahead, man. Let's talk about either one of those two guys for you. Sanj, I know you're a big fan of Meatloaf, man. Talk to me, brother. I remember you singing Meatloaf songs in Boston, brother. Talk to me, man. How you
I don't know if everyone can see it. So, in honor of all that, I am wearing my BU hoodie tonight. So, we did have a Zoom meeting last night with all my college roommates, and then our female counterparts who they lived across the hall from us. So we became one big fraternity / sorority of our own, And so one of the things, as you witnessed, that we used to do in college, we used to, like many college kids do, consume copious amounts of alcohol and then dancing and singing and stuff like that. So one of the things I would do, I was skinny back then, so I would stick pillows under my shirt and run out and start singing Meatloaf, and I actually ended up getting really good at singing Meatloaf. But and then, as a matter of fact, it turned into a family tradition at weddings.
Oh, get out
So
of here.
he has this one song called "Paradise by the Dashboard Light," where basically he's talking about, having the first time with this really hot girl from school. Basically, they're in high school, and then so they have a really hot night together. And then at the end of the song, he's like, "Well, now I'm praying for the end of time so that I can end my time with you, because in order to get in her pants, he has to promise her that he's going to stay with her forever and whatnot." And so he does, and then he ends up miserable, right? So you can imagine singing that at a wedding. So what we usually do at the wedding, we put the guys on one side and we put the girls on one side, and we sing it out and we act it out. So Meatloaf is a huge part of my college life, and our family traditions. Some of us, we have family traditions based around Meatloaf. I mean, just being he was such a great entertainer. And he has a very, very extensive catalog of music, but his best music was, what really propelled him into fame was the Bat Out of Hell album, which is to this day still one of the biggest selling albums of all time. And that's what really propelled him into fame. And then he had a few years. So you can't mention Meatloaf without mentioning Jim Steinman. So all of those awesome songs were written by Jim Steinman. And you might notice some of Jim Steinman's work. Total Eclipse of the Heart was also a Jim Steinman song, which was supposed to be a Meatloaf song. Celine Dion's song, It's All Coming Back to Me Now, is written by Jim Steinman, was supposed to be a Meatloaf song, but there was a period of time when the two of them weren't getting along very well. So Jim Steinman gave away all these songs that could have been great Meatloaf songs, and Meatloaf was out there making terrible albums because he was not the songwriter. He was the performer. But when eventually they got Bat Out of Hell Part 2, which Meatloaf got arguably his most famous song off of, I Would Do Anything for Love, but I Won't Do That. Which to this day, up until his death, he was still getting questions from fans. what won't you do? And he's just like, it's in the song. If you listen to the song, he says exactly what I won't do. But yeah, so Meatloaf is definitely, a cultural icon that had impact from many decades, from the 60s, 70s, all the way into, and he stayed relevant, up until his passing. So we were saddened by his passing, but we will remember him with love in our hearts, and a lot of good memories he gave us.
Absolutely, man. And then Al, man, for you and I, man, I know growing up, Louie Anderson had his cartoon show. I remember watching the Louie Anderson show, and then also on top of that, he was in a bunch of different movies. I don't remember him being any big major part in a movie, except for I remember he was the accordion guy for Home Alone to help the mom get back to Macaulay Culkin in Home Alone. So I remember Louie Anderson and Dad. I remember him being in Coming to America as well.
Yeah.
So to me, Louie Anderson, I remember some of his stuff, but I remember for some reason him being in a cartoon. But I think it was The Life of Louie or something like that. So, I mean, any memories for you that stand out for Louie Anderson or Meatloaf?
I was just going to say, well, in terms of Louie Anderson, for some reason, when I heard of his passing, Coming to America was what came to mind. And I know it's not his only piece of work, nor is it probably his greatest piece of work, but it was the one that I remember of him the most.
Right.
Him just sitting in there saying, I started off at Fry's. Now I'm, now I think he was, he was aiming for assistant manager and this and that.
That's
and
when
just,
the big bucks start rolling in.
So he was always one of those character actors that just made you laugh. And then I remember back when he did stand up, he had that certain type of sense of humor, that not everybody got, but it clearly enough people got that he stuck around and became a memorable person and somebody that obviously a lot of people got to know and can remember. So it was a sad, like it's not one of that threw me back, but I wasn't shocked when I heard that he had passed.
Yeah, and I think with Louie Anderson, I think I just confused him for John Candy in
I think a
Home
lot of people
Alone,
did. Yeah.
right? So I mean, I do remember him being a cartoon, and it was The Life of Louie or Life with Louie, I think it is, and then Coming to America. But yeah, I don't think that was John Candy in Home Alone. So
No,
that's my fault.
it was not. We were
Brandon,
gonna wait
man,
for the segment. We were gonna wait. Me and B were like looking at each other. We were gonna wait for the segment to be over to correct that. We weren't gonna jump in.
I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, wait a minute, did I just confuse him with John Candy? Yep. Oh man. And then Brandon, man, one of the things with Meatloaf in regards to like movies and stuff like that is that he had a part to do with the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's honestly one of the things that I remember a lot is the Rocky Horror Picture Show. So
Yeah,
how about you?
He was incredible in Rocky Horror. For me, like my biggest things of Meatloaf has to be listening to Bat Out of Hell. Like that album was incredible, and it's just so good. And of course I've seen some of the movies. Like he has a little bit of role in Wayne's World. And he had a role in a lot of those kind of like quirky rock movies. Yeah, Fight Club. So like
Bobby
he was
Bitch Tits.
like. Meatloaf, you just love him. Like you can't not love Meatloaf. So I have a couple friends from Five Towns College, and a lot of those guys are really into like metal and all that stuff. And like the day Meatloaf passed away, is like they all started sobbing and like they were posting these stories. And just like I was like, because like you can listen to hard rock and roll and everything, but Meatloaf is Meatloaf. Like you love Meatloaf.
I mean, he invented the rock opera. Like,
That's
or
it.
even if he didn't invent it, like he made it, like mainstream and whatnot.
That's his thing.
As a matter of fact, "Paradise by the Dashboard Light" initially was like a 20-minute song, and the music producer whatever cut it down to 8 minutes, and he was pissed off. He said, "You ruined the song. You cut it down to 8 minutes."
It's crazy, man. Listen, man, I don't want to make this a habit 2022. If you're a person,
It's
I'm done.
like
I don't want
a manifestation at this point. Like, it's crazy.
It's like every
Like
week we're doing a I
you know,
will
right now
remember.
you just can't think ill of anyone. You
No.
know, because that might be the next person to like drop out. Yeah.
Dude, like 2022 like willed itself into existence.
It's crazy, man. But listen, we're going to end that segment with a shout out to the families, friends, and to the people who don't really know these people because, sometimes we skew to the younger market as far as like people who listen to us more for, like, again, what we said with Sidney Poitier is the Marvel, the DC fans and stuff like that. You guys look into the history of some of these people, man, because they did put out great work. And the stuff that they did meant something. You know what I mean? Like Sanj says, there's a history with Meatloaf. And the Rocky Horror Picture Show is a classic that some people need to see at least once in their life. Just it's just crazy, man. So just you know,
And like, listen to his music too. I mean, there's
yeah,
there's really great music in there if you haven't heard.
And you've all heard his songs, whether you know it or not.
Yeah.
Everyone's heard it.
yeah, man. But listen, like we always say, no easy segue, but we will move on to more movie stuff. And let's start it off right now with one of our favorites, man. And it's going to be the Batman. Right now we're still crossing our fingers. There's no movement, that the movie stays still. We're going, I believe it's
March 3rd.
March 3rd right now. So, fingers crossed, man. So listen, Brandon, right now there is a time of this movie being 2 hours and 55 minutes, basically 3 hours long. And people are having their say about it. You have a bunch of people saying that might be too long for his first movie, and there's other people saying that makes it epic. What's your thoughts on that?
Honestly, nobody knows what's in store for this movie. We've gotten a lot of trailers, but those trailers have covered a second here or there of a couple scenes. We've seen the car chase with the Penguin. We've seen him talking to Selena Kyle. We've seen him in the mansion. And we've seen a couple things with the Riddler. But to hear that this movie is almost 3 hours means that we haven't seen a lot of anything, really.
Yeah.
We don't have I think Al and I were talking about this. We've seen now like 4 different The Batman trailers, and I still have no idea what this movie is about. Like, I just know the Riddler is just being an asshole. Like, he's upset. So, like, he's real upset. So, in terms of this, like, we don't know if this is a planned trilogy. This could be it. It could be a one and done The Batman movie. So, I tell you guys, I'm still very iffy on this movie. I just don't know how to feel about it. But the fact that it's 3 hours gives me the hope that they've invested a lot in the story, and that this is going to be a very story-driven Batman movie, which I think as long as it's done well and executed well, and it's not, Zack Snyder's Justice League, which is 4 hours, and you felt that 4 hours, as long as it's an orchestrated movie where it feels like it moves and flows along, I feel like you wouldn't feel it.
Yeah, man. Al, how you feeling about this, knowing that's going to be about 3 hours long? Does it give you a little bit more hesitation, or you're like, nah, this sounds about right?
No, it actually gives me hesitation because my fear is that they didn't know what to cut out in order to give us a concise story. Because sometimes you'll have a scene play out and you're like, all right, they could have cut out a couple of these lines, they could have cut out that, or they could have cut out that scene entirely because this other scene also explains what that scene explained. So I'm afraid we're getting a 3 hour movie and a lot of it is going to drag out only because we're rehashing too much into maybe too many characters. Because like Brandon just said, we have Penguin, we have Riddler, we have the Catwoman. Does that mean there's other villains that are going to get played out? So now we got to give their story, their involvement. Batman's got to go against them. Could this have been condensed to Catwoman as the love interest and Riddler as the bad guy? Did we need Penguin? Are we getting too much for, like they said, a first series in what potentially could have been a trilogy or something along those lines? So my fear is that they're putting too much into it for, like you said, for a first movie. Yeah, I'm actually very nervous about that now, hearing about this runtime.
Yeah. How about you, Sanj? I mean, to me, sometimes when you hear 3 hours long, it just means that the story is very involved. There may be some twists that we may not be seeing coming, but also at the same time, this is the first time we're getting this Batman. What's your feel on this?
Well, I hear I hear Al's concerns, and he does raise a lot of good points about there being too much and trying to do too much in one time. But I kind of more agree with Brandon because the Riddler and the Penguin historically have not done well by themselves as stories. So having the two of them together um, to play off of each other and maybe to join up with each other and provide that dynamic for Batman. And then you have Selena Kyle there, who is not necessarily, she's like straddling the fence between good guy and bad guy, right? So which way is she gonna go? Clearly, we all know that she's Batman's love interest at some point, right? But what's the dynamic between the two of them gonna be? And so I kind of like that it's going to be 3 hours because that means, if anything, there's going to be plenty of time for them to flesh out the story and give us good character development. Because even though we're not naive to the characters, these are new actors playing these characters, so it gives us time to appreciate their take on the character and gives them that time to develop their version of the character. So I'm okay with it being 3 hours. And on an unrelated note, what do y'all think of my facial growth? Because I am trying to audition for the part of Ra's al Ghul in the next Batman movie.
Yeah,
No,
man.
you've got that white strip right there.
That's exactly there you go. Yeah,
I was thinking Ra's al Ghul too when I saw it. I was like,
you know what? If there is an open casting call in the next Batman, or I may just start a campaign for myself to be the next Ra's al Ghul.
all right. So we got Sanj being Ra's al Ghul, and Brandon wants to be Nova, no doubt. Noted. Noted. Oh God, man. And then I am going to be Channing Tatum in his biopic. So
I like it. I like it a lot.
funny, man. Yeah, man. So listen, Batman coming out soon. I think in a month, pretty much. So I'm excited, man. It's winding down. I'm starting to get excited, ready to see this movie. I'm ready for Brandon to be turned around his faith in the Batman, in the Robert Pattinson Batman.
This from the trailers and everything that I've seen so far, and I mean, all of it. Batman's our guy. I know Superman's your guy, but Batman's still our guy.
Yeah.
I'm afraid of this Batman.
Yeah.
Like, he scares me. Like, Batman has never scared me, but this guy scares me. Like, the rage that they just show him, like, it's scary to think of a Batman like that.
What are you? Vengeance.
What?
It's funny too. When they released the look of the Riddler, we got like the kind of like the concept art of it, and so you have like the white background against the outfit, and it looks like he's just like the hazmat looking guy. And then you get the look of him in the trailer. You're like, oh, that's a lot better. That's a lot better than hazmat.
Yeah, he's looking like the Zodiac killer, man. I think that's what the look they're going for, Zodiac, man.
Yeah.
So
hazmat.
Okay. Yeah, man. And listen, I'm glad I said it right, man, because when I told you guys the topic, Al gave me the pause look when I said that we're going to see how long the Batman is.
No, you said the length of Batman.
The length of the Batman.
Wow.
I'm curious as towards the length of the Batman.
You know you all are.
I mean, is he filling out that cod piece for real, or is it just empty space? I want to know.
Let's take a deep dive.
Please no. No deep dive on that. Oh my goodness. So crazy. I love it. Oh man. And then now see, we're having such a good time, and now I'm gonna bring up a terrible subject that I don't even want to talk about, but we're gonna talk about it because this week pissed me the hell off, man. And I'll tell you what pissed me off is hearing, oh man, did you guys hear John Krasinski's and is the Mr. Fantastic? I'm like, no, don't tell me that. oh, did you hear that Professor X is possibly in Doctor Strange? I'm like, oh God, don't tell me that. If it's not like known when they start the production, like, oh, this is gonna feature this person in this movie, then I'm cool with it. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I'm looking forward to it. But dude, when these people are leaking who is gonna be in this movie because they have nothing else better to do. I think about Spider-Man No Way Home. And granted, I get it. It's a huge secret. A lot of people thought that they should make the movie with the three Spider-Men, but no one knew for sure. And then on top of the leaks, you got people asking these guys every time they're on interviews, "Are you in Spider-Man? Hey, are you in Spider-Man?" And these guys have no choice but to lie or to kind of like try to fake us out a little bit to give us a little bit of thought. And I can only imagine how we would have felt if we had no clue that Toby or Andrew were in the movie and then we see that scene. Now, granted, none of us were really sure, but we had it in our background, and then when the scene happened, we still lost our shit. We still lost our minds. But it sucked to kind of know it already. You know what I mean? And I don't know. It just kind of is like killing me now that these movies, a lot of things are coming out. People take pictures now with the cell phones and everything going on. So let's go ahead and just talk about that real quick. So, Al, what is your feeling with leaks? Because you've told me in the past yourself that sometimes you don't mind knowing what happened in a story. You don't mind as long as the story plays out well. So, to you, I don't know if things have changed or what's your feeling with all these leaks going on lately?
I mean, I don't want to know, but it won't ruin it for me if I know. So
Gotcha.
I don't want to hear, just like with Spider-Man. I think we all said, okay, we're going on social media lockdown and so forth and so on. So I agree. I don't want to know, but I'm not the kind of person where, oh, now I know John Krasinski is going to be in Multiverse of Madness. So,
Yeah.
oh, it ruined the movie for me. No, I'll say, like, just like with Spider-Man, we still enjoyed watching it unfold, even though we had a 95% certainty that they were going to be in the movie. We were just looking to see what else was going to be in the movie.
Yeah.
So it won't ruin the experience for me, but I would rather the surprise of, oh shit, I didn't know this was the direction they were going for Multiverse of Madness. Instead of now, oh shit, they really did introduce Fantastic Four. I mean, we know it's coming because we saw that it's on the sheet for the phase 4 or something, or one, at least one of the phases coming. So
Right.
we definitely know a Fantastic Four movie is coming. Just surprise us as to when the reveal or the first hint of one of them, whether it be him or somebody.
Or Sue Storm or
Yeah,
somebody.
Sue Storm or Johnny or whoever. Like,
Yeah.
let that be a surprise, whether it be a walk-on cameo, kind of what they did with Matt Murdock,
Mhm.
or something. Let us be surprised. But these guys, they want the attention, they want the recognition, they want to say, "Hey, I saw so and so on set, and he's definitely in this
Yeah.
movie now." And they need their ego stroked. So
Yeah.
and the rest of us just have to suffer for it.
Yeah, I mean, like, I even understand for Andrew Garfield, the secret came out on his first day of shooting Spider-Man that apparently he had ordered something from delivery and they needed for him to sign the credit card that he was purchasing the tacos or whatever. And that guy, as soon as he signed, saw that he was there in Atlanta, he went and on Twitter was like, Andrew Garfield's in Spider-Man No Way Home. And I'm like, oh God, man. And then like, Sanj, one time with like before Eternals, before we got a chance to watch Eternals, I think Eternals had came out in Europe like a couple of days beforehand or a week beforehand. And I remember going on Yahoo, not even YouTube or anything. I went on Yahoo. And one of the first stories on there was what's that guy Styles? Harry
Harry
Styles?
Styles, yeah.
Harry Styles is Star Fox. And I'm like, who's Star Fox? And why is Harry Styles? I'm like, oh, that's from Eternals. God damn it. And it was like, I was gonna see the movie the next day. I'm like, Jesus, can I be surprised? Like, granted, I don't know who Harry Styles is, but whatever. What's your thoughts on these leaks, Sans? Does it make the movie a little less, or does it not matter to you? It's just as long as it's not a complete like this person dies in the movie kind of thing.
I hate the leaks. Let me be very clear about it. I hate the leaks. I hate the people that do them. I believe Batman should hunt them down and let them know that he's vengeance, for all us moving going people. Because uh, again, Spider-Man's a great example, right? Um, we had a 95%, certainty that all three Spider-Men were going to be in it. But let's say we had absolutely no clue that the three Spider-Men were going to show up, or the other two Spider-Men were going to show up. Imagine, imagine when he
Our
opened up
heads
the
would have
gate.
exploded.
Can you? I mean, we lost, like you said, we lost our shit anyway. Can you imagine what the payoff would have been like, and the emotion would have been like had we not known? And then dude rips off the mask, and it's fucking Andy Garfield. And then they open another one, and we get Tobey Maguire. You know what I'm saying? It's like if we had no clue, and then these assholes, yes, assholes that that do the trailers, that the MJ scene where she's falling should have never been in the trailer either. That should
Yeah.
have never been in the trailer. That to me is equivalent to a leak, because you set up that scene and you let everybody know what's going to happen. If you've watched Spider-Man movies and you understand how these movies and the stories go, she's falling the same way that Gwen was falling. So that just
Yeah.
confirms that three Spider-Men are going to be in the movie, and one of them is going to catch her. Guess who it's going to be? Right? Now, credit to Andrew Garfield and Zendaya for
He
how they
tried.
acted.
Oh yeah, they
So
tried, yeah.
no, for how they acted the scenes,
Yeah.
so that even though
Mhm.
you knew it was coming, when it actually happened, you still got the payoff because of their acting, that because of
Yeah.
what they did, right?
Mhm.
But can you imagine if we didn't know and then it happens? It would have been that times 10 at least. But
Yeah.
I hate the leaks, and I hate the people that do the leaks.
Yeah,
Hell
that's
yeah.
like to your point. That's like when Endgame came out, and I think it released in China first, or I forgot what country.
Oh.
And the guy goes on Twitter and says Iron Man dies.
That shit is criminal.
My
That shit
student
is
did that
criminal.
to
They
me.
should, no, that,
You
that
saw
shit
it,
is
Brandon?
real criminal.
My student did that to me on the day we were going to see Endgame.
Oh.
I sent him home.
You said
He didn't go to baseball. I sent him home.
Yeah.
Good.
I didn't believe it. I was just like, I know he didn't just try to ruin this movie for me. I was like, I don't know if you're right or not, but you're done, because that's not cool. Sent him home.
You're done.
And he understood. He was like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, man. Yeah, Brandon, how's your feelings on that? Because like even Science says, even the trailers nowadays are showing a little bit too much also.
That you know already. It's my biggest gripe on the planet. I hate trailers. I don't like trailers. Trailers are terrible. I want to be surprised completely.
Yeah.
Like trailers. Like I remember, if we go back to the early 2000s, the trailer showed you nothing. Like when the first X-Men came out, the trailer showed Wolverine and then his claws. It showed you a glimpse of Sabretooth in the snow. It showed you Cyclops shooting a beam. It showed you Magneto with the police. Like nothing crazy that you would be like, oh shit, like I wish I didn't see that. Like it was just all general things that you would expect to see in this movie. Is the X-Men doing things with their powers, right? Spider-Man 2, it just showed Spider-Man swinging, and then a somewhat glimpse of Doc Ock. I don't even think the first Spider-Man trailer even showed the Green Goblin other than just his face, like once. So like
Mhm.
I don't know what happened between the early 2000s and now where we need to know the entire premise of a movie before we see it. Like
Right.
if you're not confident that your movie's going to sell and there's all this hype behind it, then don't make that movie, rewrite it. Like,
Mhm.
go back to the drawing board and do it again. Because like there's no need for us to see the whole movie in a 2-minute trailer. And then you're going to release 5 other trailers and TV spots and promos to show us a little bit more. I don't need to see more. I want to see the movie. We paid money to see the movie. We had the tickets already.
Yeah.
So like with Spider-Man No Way Home, the second we had heard the word multiverse, all of us came to the conclusion that there were going to be all these Spider-Men. Like it was kind of like a given, but like you all said, it blew our mind the second Andrew Garfield was down down the alleyway, and I'm like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. You know, like it still blew our mind. But with the Doctor Strange, I've literally given up on the internet. You know, like
Yeah.
the second this movie is still in production, and I feel like I know more about this movie than I should, and I don't feel like it's ruined the movie for me. But some of those big name actors that could potentially be in the movie, we're not even sure they are. Those big name actors that could potentially be in this movie, I would have shit my pants in the seat seeing them show up on the screen at the same time. You know,
Gotcha.
like that would have blew my mind. And especially, I'm not confident in the Doctor Strange thing. You know, like
Mhm.
I love the first movie, but I told you guys at the end of Spider-Man, I don't really know what they're doing with him. So this could have been the move, the power play to make Doctor Strange really appealing, and it's been given away.
Yeah. Now, Sans, what I want to ask is like, do we, as these people who love movies and go to the movies all the time, are we making it more than what it is? Because at the end of the day, if the movie's good, the movie's good. And two, you know, is really truly knowing that someone might be in the movie, they might not. More chances are not they are going to be in the movie because that's where these leaks come from. But there's still that chance that they may not or may not be in it and stuff like that. Like, do you think that we're being a little too hard, or nah, man, we're justified in this like anger?
I'll speak for myself. I feel that we are justified in the anger because people leak stuff to. There's no reason to leak something other than to ruin it for somebody else, and that's malicious. That I mean
Mhm.
that's really malicious. Like, hey, you'd probably have a better time if you didn't know this, but I'm going to tell you, so I just ruined it for you. It's malicious. Whether it's
Mhm.
some, I mean, again, at the end of the day, in the grand scheme of things, what are movies? We go there for entertainment, right?
Right.
It's not, we're not saving lives by going to movies, right? We're not saving lives by watching movies or anything like that,
Right.
right? So in that sense, no, it's not that big of a deal. But the fact that someone's doing it to ruin it for you, that bothers me. Like, why? Like, what kind of person are you that you want to ruin something that could bring somebody else joy?
Yeah. I hear you, man. And so, Al, with YouTube and stuff, I get it. It's about getting people to look at your videos.
Yeah.
So there's the incentive of spoiling, and obviously they're spoiling it because there are going to be a bunch of people who click it and want to know too, because people can't help themselves. And I don't know, man. What's your thoughts on that?
I don't think you need to do the spoilers because a lot of the people I follow on YouTube that are in the same kind of thing as us, where in terms of like reviewing and speaking, talking about movies, they analyze what has been put out. They will go over, oh, look, they released this trailer. What do you think is happening here? What do we think about why this person is in the background? What do we think they're in front of this building? So they
Right.
analyze what was released. They don't tell you what wasn't released or, oh, we heard that this delivery man delivered tacos to Andrew Garfield on the set of No Way Home, so he's clearly in it. Like, they don't do that. And you don't have to.
Hmm.
And just do an analysis of what was put out there. Like, do an interpretation of the information they did give us. What do you think is going to happen in the movie, and see if you're right. And this way, if you tend to be right, now more people will come and follow you and watch your videos because you tend to be right on what you think is going to happen based
Right.
on the preview, not because you got information and now, oh, I knew all three Spider-Man were going to be in there, and I just have to hope that they acted out well. No, I wanted. What if they acted it out poorly, but the surprise and the emotion of seeing them on the screen put it over?
Yeah.
Now the surprise of them being on the screen is gone, and all I gotta hope is that their acting is done well. And what if it's not? Now I knew they were gonna be in, and that shit was horrible. Oh, now the whole thing's ruined for me. Now So
Yeah.
so that's why I say I can go without the surprise and let's just talk about what is out there. What information did they give us? And to the point earlier, I'd rather just the teaser trailers. Don't
Hmm.
tell me what the plot of the movie is. Don't tell me every little detail of the movie and every person who's going to be in it. Just get me excited. Like in a Batman movie, just show me him beating people up, explosions, and how good the cinematography is going to be, the sound, the soundtrack to the movie sounds like it's going to be a good, and let that be what draws me in, and be surprised as to what is actually going to happen in the movie. Like, what's the point of giving me the whole plot on a preview? To Brandon's point, does that mean you're not confident in what you're releasing? That you had to really give me a lot more in order to entice me? Like, you couldn't give me a teaser to draw me in?
Yeah, man. I get you.
Yeah.
And then the last thing I got there, Brandon, is like, is there a part of you who thinks that some of these leaks are intentional? Maybe it's somebody from the studio saying, like, you know what, Doctor Strange, it doesn't have the buzz that we think he should have. So let's let it out there that these people may be in it. Or somebody like, or you think it's just the everyday person with a cell phone on set?
I thought about this before, especially with like, I forgot. I think it was Avengers: Age of Ultron. And this is before we knew that Vision was going to be in the movie, and the concept art was leaked of the final battle, and it had Vision flying, and we're like, oh, Vision's in the movie. I think something like that was done on purpose by the studios because they had seen the product. We saw Age of Ultron. It wasn't the best, and so it was to get you hyped to see, oh, there's more Marvel superheroes in this movie than we thought. The Avengers roster is going to grow bigger. What's going to happen now that Vision's in it? Is Ant-Man going to be in this? Because Ant-Man had a hand in making Vision in the making Ultron in the comics. So it got you hyped up to see what could happen. I think that was done by the studios, but I feel like with these leaks lately, due to the specifics of them, I think these are just the everyday people who know that the production is happening down the street in a certain spot in their city, and they're going with their cameras, and anything they can get a glimpse of, they take a snapshot of it and put it online. With some of these big name actors, okay, even like last week, this last week, I saw the potential of 4 big name actors potentially being in this movie as characters I would love to see. I feel like a surprise like that would not be released by Marvel to hype up this movie. I feel like because they saw them on set, took a snapshot, one of them even had like a raincoat on, and just happened to have their face turned a little bit this way. Then they're like, oh, this is who I believe they are because of their facial hair and because of X, Y, and Z, blah, blah, blah. And so it's none of it's even confirmed, and it might not even be accurate, just an assumption, but when you put it out there and it becomes an article, whether you want to see it or not, you now have the tagline X, Y, and Z is X, Y, and Z because of their guess.
Right.
So I think recently it's more people that just have nothing better to do.
Jerks.
Yes, they need more likes, they need more followers.
Yeah, man. So listen, man, if you're one of these people who get this stuff online, or you get it on your cell phone because you see the people they're filming, cut it out.
Smack the phone out of their hands.
Yeah. Think about it. You're ruining it for everybody else, man. Stop being so goddamn selfish.
Or if you're gonna do it, put it behind like a spoiler warning sign or something. Don't put it in the title.
Yeah, like just a choice. Like that way you have the choice of if you're gonna go and look at the spoiler or not.
Yeah.
That's my favorite thing about Instagram is I'll be just swiping up through the reels, and it'll have the picture of the spoiler, but when you have to pass by the description tells you the spoiler in the first sentence. I'm like, oh, I don't want to see it. You said spoiler in the photo. I had to swipe. I don't want to see it in the description.
Yeah, and you YouTube people, stop it with the freaking picture as your freaking, what is it called now?
Thumbnail.
Your thumbnail.
Yeah.
Get it off. Get it off.
Get it off. You should be sued for that.
Give me the option to blow it up in my face.
Yeah.
Pause.
God,
Are you taking a deep dive on that one?
Jeez.
You guys are the worst.
All over his face. God damn.
Give me the option to blow it up in my face.
Let me know.
Give me a warning. At least.
Batman.
What was that,
Give me a sign.
Batman? Vengeance.
Vengeance. Oh man! Speaking of Batman's length and blowing it up in my face, let's talk about guilty pleasures.
What a transition! All right.
This is terrible. This is the worst episode transition ever. Nah, man. So listen, there
And
was
here we were thinking it wasn't going to be that much of an episode tonight, huh?
It's hilarious. This is hilarious.
I think this
like
episode
classic.
is rapidly turning into a classic.
This is gold. Gold.
Yeah, man. This is where we get funny with it sometimes because this is the stuff where we find out things about each other where we're like, really,
Yeah.
dude?
Yeah,
You
we've
know?
gone off the rails.
Yeah.
Don't tell me we're
it's
finding
total
stuff out,
anarchy
Hop,
right
because
now.
you just said all over your face.
Yeah, man. So listen, there wasn't a
I
lot
was
of
contacting
news.
the youth pastor right now to come see you, bro.
Pastor, a verse, please.
Shame. Shame.
I'm gonna need
Shame.
a verse.
Oh my god, man.
Pastor, they got me on this podcast talking about the length of Batman. I'm gonna need a verse.
I need them first. Oh my god. Corinthians 2.
Utah.
Off the
That
rails,
might be,
dude.
you know what? That might be top 5 greatest lines in a movie ever.
Oh my god, dude.
You know what? We got to do an episode on that. Greatest lines in a movie.
Hell
Yeah,
yeah.
at some point we
That's
got to
definitely
do it.
gotta be one.
Yeah.
Definitely, man. Well, listen, wanted to learn something about you guys because I was looking over my DVD collection the other day and I saw some movies in there and I'm like, dude, if the guys knew I had this one, man. Yeah. And it's just funny to me because after I said that, I go, oh, I need to watch it again. So, and I just want to know, like, there's movies that like people call guilty pleasures, which are movies that are maybe not that great or not that well liked by the movie fandom. But then there's, movies are for based on people's opinions of whether they like it or not, how they affect them, right? Because you may not like something somebody else does, right? So these movies here that we're going to talk about are movies that we think we're the only ones that like them or love them, or for whatever reasons we go back
Or
to
that
them.
we might be ashamed of it if someone else knew that we like these things.
Especially like, we like, yeah, we like Batman and Avengers and all this stuff like that. But I'll set it off with the embarrassing one, man. And I'm gonna admit this. This movie that is a guilty pleasure of mine, I went to see on opening night in Stony Brook, maybe about 15, 20 years ago or so. And to this day, I secretly still think it's one of the best beginning of a movie ever.
Uh-oh.
And it's You Got Served.
Ba, 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 ba.
Breathe in, breathe
But
out.
here's the thing,
breathe
Hop. That
in.
I knew that about you. I knew that you like all the movies that like have the dancing
Oh,
and all that stuff. We knew all about because I mean you like that stuff.
I didn't know if you guys knew. I knew some of you may have known.
No,
Maybe even
but
Brandon
you
may
got
have known.
served, bro. You've always been about those movies,
So,
and I like those movies. They're great.
but I
They're
don't think you.
entertaining,
I don't
they're
think you
fun.
understand how much I think they're great.
I think I can understand when you hear mine.
Okay.
Mm.
So I set it off. You Got Served. I think there's something. If you guys have not ever seen one of these dancing movies, just watch the first 5 minutes, and you're gonna start like.
Yeah, you're gonna want to get up
Just
and
start,
start
like,
like
moving.
dancing and shit, like and learning the moves and whatnot. Yeah, absolutely, yes.
And especially with Omarion, with the Omicron going around. Omarion's up in there. Marquez Houston is up in there. I think there's a
And
couple.
then when you
of
got
other
the kid that said, "You suckers got served."
You got the frosted tips too.
Yes.
Oh man,
Yes.
there's a bunch of people from this show I used to watch called "You Think You Can Dance." They're all over it. It's just crazy to me, and I can't believe it. Like the other day, I started watching. It was on TV for some reason, and it was time to put the kids to bed, and I waited for my wife to look away, and I paused it and hit record so I could watch it later when everybody fell asleep.
I'm gonna let this one run. Don't worry, I'm gonna let this one run.
Dude, I know it. What's this thing? Stupid. And then
Who's been watching?
breathe in, breathe out. All these like weird dance moves. I love them, man. Oh, Brandon, come on, man. Share me one. Give me a good guilty pleasure movie that you don't think a lot of people like, but you absolutely love and will watch again sometime soon.
Oh gosh. I have two. One is incredibly embarrassing. Another one is just strange.
Give me the embarrassing one first.
The embarrassing one is I've never seen like cheesy Jordan Sparks movies before. You know, before I met my fiance, like I just thought they were cheesy. I never watched them. And then like she showed me this movie, A Walk to Remember with Mandy Moore, right? And like
That was a good movie.
I love that movie. I love it. I think
Wasn't it so sad?
It's the saddest movie. And I was like, and like she put it on. She's like, oh, I love this movie. It's one of the greatest movies. I'm like, oh, here we go. And so it starts off, and you know, Mandy Moore's in it, and she plays the piano, and you know, if you don't know in the movie, she's sick and such, and that's like the whole draw of it. And like, I would just
Spoiler
instantly
alert.
like, spoiler alert, 20 years later, as the movie's going, I'm just like getting more invested in it. By the end of it, I'm like, is she gonna make it? She gonna make it?
She gonna make it?
I was like, she's gotta make it, right? Like they're in love, they're getting married.
Right. But bro, like later on when he like eventually becomes the doctor and then he comes back and like talks to the dad and like, oh my god.
When he hands her the diary,
Yes.
when he hands her the diary.
Dude, I have no idea what the fuck you guys are talking about.
Me neither, man. Me neither.
That's why I said it was embarrassing.
When he hands her the diary?
Oh, he hands the dad the diary. Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, oh my god,
dude.
And the
Lost
other one, which is weird, I was like, I haven't seen this movie in forever, but it was on TNT, and I just couldn't turn it off. It was Con Air with Nicolas Cage.
Yes!
Where he had the mullet.
That is classic Con Air.
I couldn't turn it off. I was like,
I saw that in the theater.
It's stupid as hell, but classic.
Yeah.
Classic.
Classic, man. Sanj, give me a guilty pleasure movie that you don't think anybody's seen, watched, but you love it, man.
All right, so I got a couple things, but like I'm not ashamed of any of it.
No.
So one, I've always liked Disney movies from when I was a kid,
Yeah.
as an adult, and everything in between. Like I have never stopped liking Disney movies, like Little Mermaid, Lion King, what do you call it, Aladdin, all of it. I love it. I love the songs. I played them on my saxophone. I learned the songs and played them on my saxophone and stuff like that. Like I just love Disney movies. Any rom-com that has Sandra Bullock in it. I love me some Sandra Bullock.
Okay.
I have always loved Sandra Bullock. I always will love Sandra Bullock. I wanted to marry Sandra Bullock.
Gotcha.
Still kind of do, but I didn't hear that. And then, but Pitch Perfect, the Pitch Perfect movies. Absolutely love the Pitch Perfect movies. And Anna Kendrick, I have a crush on her as well. Like, you know, it's when they mash up all the songs and whatever, like, it's incredible.
Pitch Perfect, I got you, man. That's a good one, man. That's a good one. Al, how about you, man? Guilty pleasure movie, man, that you don't think people should like or do like and you absolutely love.
For me, I was gonna say romantic comedies as well. Like as much as it lasts, like I remember wanting to make sure I saw and getting into what was it, 10 Ways to Lose a Man, and you know making sure that Matthew McConaughey got to Kate Hudson on the bridge and caught her before she made it and everything. You know, so I usually like to watch those movies by myself because I don't want to acknowledge that I've watched them.
Same.
Yeah, and then
Never
also
seen
kid movies. You know, like when they were making live anime, like live. I don't want to say animatronic, but live cartoon type movies of cartoons that were around when we were kids. So I remember when they made like the Alvin and the Chipmunk movies and the Smurfs. like I was like, all right, I have to watch these movies. And I remember renting it, and then someone seeing the disc on my table, and they were like, "Tell me you didn't." And it was, you know, a Netflix disc, so obviously I ordered it and wanted it to come.
Yeah.
So they go, "Why did you order that?" I'm like, "Because I wanted to." Oh, kid, it was like, and I felt the pain of having to say it, but I didn't regret watching it.
Yeah.
So
you.
yeah, kid. So it's So those movies, I like, and now that I have a kid, I hide behind. Oh, she'll want to watch it, so I hide and like use her as my excuse as to why I'm watching these movies. But like this weekend, we just saw Hotel Transylvania 4. Most of it was because I wanted to watch it as well. You know. Thankfully, she did as well. Yeah, those are the kinds of movies that I would say.
Oh, Al, man, I tried to get the kids to watch Hotel Transylvania. They wanted nothing to do with it, man. It was like, that just looks scary. I was like, oh, come on, man.
You sit down and you watch.
Now, you ready for my last one, man?
Go for it.
And I got caught with this one, man. You know how I got caught too? Because when you go to Netflix and it says
Did it blow up in
recently,
your face?
it said recently watched. And
Continue watching. Yeah.
And I got the. When did you watch that? Magic Mike is the shit, kid.
Well, you had to do research because you know it's the biopic.
Magic Mike.
All right.
I never wanted to see the movie. There was like a bunch of male strippers, and then I kept hearing like, "Yo, dude, it's actually a good movie." Dude, I almost cried, dude. Like, it actually is a good movie. I could do it a lot of less chest.
He just wants to find love.
A little less grinding in front of the camera, but I loved it, man. It's a classic.
It's a classic.
Dude,
It all makes sense. It all makes sense now.
That
it really does.
Recently watched kills me every time.
Oh, it messes you up, man.
Let me tell you, recently watched makes me not want to watch sometimes.
No, that's why I set my kids up with their own profiles. I said, listen, I told them, do not ever go on Daddy's profile. Daddy watches some weird shit.
Dad, Mrs. Robot? Oh man, you guys got any other guilty pleasures you want to bring up?
No, I gave you the guilty pleasures there.
Yeah, man.
It's weird. Like Sandra Bullock and Anna Kendrick, I just have like such a crush on them, and like because they're totally not my type.
So you'll watch anything they do.
Anything that they do. If they're in it, I'll watch it like 10 times.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, man. So listen, man, that's gonna be our podcast for this week. Listen, if you guys have a guilty pleasure movie that you think that no one else would like except for you, would love to know what it is. Email us at therealfanreview@gmail.com. Or if you're watching on YouTube, comment below. What's your guilty pleasure movie that you liked? Magic Mike. Or your favorite Anna Kendrick movie? Bitch, please. No, pitch, please. Bitch, please.
Excuse me?
Not the bitch, please. It's pitch, please. Yeah, that's crazy. Man.
Wow.
Absolutely, man. So listen, next week, hopefully we'll have some movies to talk about. If not, we'll come up with some fun topics to talk about because we don't have a movie, I think, until the first week of February, which is going to be either the Jackass movie or there's a couple of other things coming out in the next couple of weeks. So if we watch one, we'll definitely let you guys know, or we'll start getting you ready for some other movies coming up.
Yeah.
So coming out of Long Island, New York, we got my brother B.
Adios, everybody.
We got our man in the chair, Al.
Have a good night, everyone.
We got our boy Sanj.
Good night, everyone, and in memoriam of our dear friend Meatloaf, I remember every little thing as if it happened only yesterday.
Yeah, man, and myself, Hav, man, saying good night, and thank you guys for listening, for watching the YouTubes on the videos there. If you're listening, please hit the plus symbol on your podcast app to make us come to you every week when we put out a podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. That way, whenever we put out a podcast on the YouTube there, you can watch us do it right here on the cameras there. So we'll see you guys on the next episode. Hope you enjoyed this one and laughed with us. Till next time.